All right, so let's talk about the classes in school. Most high school students, are used to 40-minute, 42-minute classes. The classes in college are an hour and a half long, so you're talking about 90 minutes. You're talking about almost doubling the amount of time, or more than doubling the amount of time that you are in class. And so this is if a high school student has trouble getting through a 40-minute, lecture and looks at the clock the entire time, an hour and a half is just it's a test to their attention span. So you got to get prepared for that. That's something that you just have to be used to. And because classes seem so long to especially freshmen and sophomores, they either tend to miss class or they just can't focus the entire time. So you have to start working on that. But understand that that's the way the classes are, and that's the way they are for now. So you have to get used to that. And you can look at some of the other videos and thoughts about getting through class and managing class. But most classes, by the way, they have two types of attendance policies. The one type of attendance policy in a class is you get a certain number of absences, and if you miss another class after that, you fail your class. That's it, or you lose a letter grade each absence after that, and that's it. So most time it's just fail. So you have those emergencies, you have the absences for emergency, and if you go to a teacher and you miss 2 or 3 classes, you're like, well, I got 4 absences, so you miss 4 in the beginning of the semester or midway through the semester just because you're lazy or don't want to go, or it's raining one day, and then you get to the end of the semester right before finals and stuff, and something major happens, God forbid, but something does major happen, or your car breaks down, or somebody passes away and you got to go to a funeral. You go to your professor and say, look, here's the situation. They'll say, well, that's why you have 2 to 4 absences for emergencies like this. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you at this point. So point being is that's just that's the policy of of that class. Now the other policy 2, is hey, the college says you're spending $10,000 to $50,000 a year to come to our college. You don't want to go to class? Don't go to class. It's fine with us. And so if it takes an extra year or two to graduate, then it takes you an extra year or two, and we'll charge you for that time as well. If you fail out your junior year, well, you don't get a refund. It's tough, and you can't go in a job interview and say, yeah, well, I went to college for 3 years. I mean, you can, but it won't be impressive to say, well, I went for 3 years until I dropped out because I wasn't mature enough to actually go to class. All right, so. Obviously, you won't say that last part, but you can't go and say, "Well, I kind of almost got a degree." That's not going to get you anywhere in a job interview. So point being is those are the 2 policies. So now policy 1 gives students a little bit of a challenge because they're used to having parents and teachers and all the people accept their excuses. Like they give an excuse, and they're used to people. Teachers actually like students or care about students, most of them, and your parents, sometimes they'll let you get away with stuff, and you give a good reason, and you think your reasons get you out of stuff. But college prepares you for life. In life, your excuses are valid, but they don't change anything. If you're a lawyer and lose the case, the reasons why you lost the case, nobody cares. You just lost the case. If you're an athlete and your team loses the game, or you mess up, or you drop the ball, or whatever, it doesn't matter why. You fumbled. You didn't get it done. You have a job to do. You have to get it done. That's it. Why does not really come into play. And if you're working in a business, they don't really care what your problems are. They care about the results. Did you get the results done? That's it. And so that's what college is about. And so understand your excuses, although they're nice. College professors are really good at using this line. I'm really sorry to hear that, but that's the policy of the class, or that's the school policy. That's it. I'm really sorry to hear that your grandmother passed away, but the policy is the policy. Okay, so that's get used to that. And a lot of students are like, I hate these teachers, I hate this, I hate that. Well, that's the way the world works. By the way, policy 2 also is usually used in larger schools. I remember there was a movie back in the 80s called Real Genius, where it was literally no one would go to class, and they would just all have tape recorders set up, at the class, and the professor would come and just talk to tape recorders. And then eventually, by the end of the movie, it was just like that the professor didn't even show up to class; he just put a big tape recorder there, playing out the sound, and then everyone else had their little tape recorders. One person would go and they just all had their little tape recorders chairs and all the seats, and that was it. So point being is, most students, though, don't even record the class. They're not even going there to record the class. Their mentality is, well, the professor doesn't care if I'm there. My parents don't know if I'm not there, if I go or not. My friends all don't seem to go to class just because they have classes at different times, or they seem to skip class all the time. So why should I go? That's the mentality, and I'll help you with that mentality. Why should you go? Well, you're going to have anywhere from $30,000 to $120,000 in student loans, or pay that much money if you don't have student loans for an education that you never got. So, send me $100,000 and don't watch these videos. So that would be great. Well, that's exactly what you're doing. You're paying money to not get an education. So that's not a good move. So go to class. Yeah, it's tough, but nobody said it was going to be easy.